A Dish with D. That's me. Thank you for clicking on this video, making yourself a priority. I am Denise. It is Wednesday. Sometimes it is Wednesday Wisdom for Weight Loss, but today it is Workshop Wednesday. What is Workshop Wednesday, D? I don't know. I just made it up 2 seconds ago. Truly. Workshop Wednesday. I thought I wanted to name this video, and all of a sudden, Workshop Wednesday came in my head. I'm like, Workshop Wednesday. I want to go over a few things. We're going to have a little app tutorial. I want to do this every week. I'm going to do a little bit of blurbs and a little bit more on the app. Each week there'll be a little bit more. To do a whole app tutorial would be way too long and too involved and confusing for people. But if we just break it down into little sections at a time, it might be easier to remember and to do. So after I get done with this little topic, there'll be coming right up a little app tutorial, just basics, how to track is what we're going to start with, because that's the most important thing, how to track, because we need to be tracking our food. All right, I rejoined Weight Watchers back a month ago, and what am I doing different? I get a lot of asked that question, and I thought, what a fun video to do to say what I'm doing different, because as we do evolve, we should change a little bit. So these are what I'm doing different. I am doing the diabetic plan. I've done it before actually, but I don't do it because I am diabetic or pre-diabetic. I do it because number one, I like 28 points a day. Number two, I don't eat the 0 point foods that the diabetic plan doesn't allow you are foods that I really don't gravitate towards anyway. Popcorn, corn, yogurt. I do gravitate towards the yogurt, but just not in huge quantities. I'm not having bowls of yogurt. I make dips, so I'm having like tablespoons of yogurt. So I thought that was fine. And fruit, which we know Denise does not really like fruit. She eats it because it's 0 points, but does she really like it? Not really. I mean, I put in a lot of my recipes, yes. And I will tell you, if you're using fruit in a recipe or you're eating fruit, weigh it. You will see, because it'll give you in grams, and you will see you might shave a point off of that banana or that apple. It's definitely something to remember, because I've actually saved a point here and there by weighing it. Just because it says banana or apple doesn't necessarily mean it's the right size. Because what have I said before? Repeat after me. You're going to say it with me. Size matters. It does, especially when you're counting points. My belly's right here. So yes, definitely those are the big things. I like having 28 points. It forces me not to have to go into weeklies, because I feel like I was always a weekly person. I feel like lately though, in the last maybe 2 years, I feel like I was like trying too hard. So I wasn't going into my weeklies as much as I used to. And I felt like that was a detriment to me. So I felt like, well, if I give myself more points, technically it's like going into my weeklies per se, but it's not. But I still try to go to my weeklies. I've been adding things back in that I stopped adding, like cheese. I would not have cheese. Oh my God, I'm not paying 2 or 3 points for cheese. Why not? You have weekly points. Eat the stinking cheese, Denise. You know, sometimes you just have to make little accomplishments. So definitely doing the diabetic plan, having those more points per day, definitely works for me. And it's something different to try. Another thing that I'm doing differently is if something scans, I should have brought something out with me. Something scans at 8 points. I'm like, wow, that's 8 points. That's a lot. I look at the calories. And if the calories are like 150, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. So tracking macros for a while did benefit me for knowledge. So I know that I'm going to use that. I'm going to eat it anyway, because yes, it's 8 points, but in the reality, it's 150 calories. So that will say, Denise, you will be forced to go into your weeklies. So that helps me dig into that, because I need to. Having some, like I said, if I want something and it's reasonable, I'm going to eat it. Like, it's not like I'm sitting there eating a piece of carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. No, this is some kind of little thing that just happens to be maybe higher in fat, higher in carbs, lower in protein. Doesn't mean it's always a bad option because it's 8 points. It just means it's something you don't want to have a lot of. That's what basically, and I think WW does that so you're not going to go back for seconds, because it is 8 points. But it is only 150 calories. So I definitely have that in my head. I flip it around, so it's always good to be knowledgeable. So definitely something that I am trying to do. Definitely going into my weeklies. I'm trying to, I feel like I used to. Why did I stop? I think it's a mental thing. When we try too hard to lose weight, we try these little tricks. I let the dog in. Little tricks. Now, I'm going to say these. I'm not insulting anybody for what they're doing, but I do think we try these to speed up weight loss. Skipping breakfast, intermittent fasting, low carb, things like that, like tricks. Like, well, she's doing low carb, she's doing intermittent fasting, and she's losing, so I'm going to try that, and I'm going to lose. If you could sustain that, then do it. But remember, if you're going to only do that temporarily to lose weight and you go back to doing what you usually do, it's not going to work. If you could sit there and be low carb for the rest of your life, then go ahead. If you could sit there and be intermittent fasting and not eat till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go ahead. Honestly, I tried all those. I can't sustain them because it's just not who I am. It's not how I want to live the rest of my life. And you will learn that what you do to lose weight is how you do to maintain your weight. And you want to get off that roller coaster of, and that's what you do. So definitely, for me, it was just stopping. Well, she's doing this. Well, she's doing that. And I'm going to try what she's doing. Oh, she's eating whole foods. That's another one. I'm going to not eat any processed foods, all whole foods. I'm not saying processed foods are great. I'm not saying whole foods are great. I say a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Never be realistic on your journey. Be you. Live the life that you can maintain and sustain. It's we try this because she's doing it, or I hear this because they've been successful. So you have to be who you are, and you have to live. That's why for me, there's cake. There's cake because I like cake. And how do I fit in cake? How do I make cake work in my plan? And that's, really how I do it. What am I doing differently as far as eating? Is being that I've tracked macros and calories. I'll tell you, I didn't regret it at all. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about being older and just my metabolism is different. So maybe we should watch the amount of carbs we eat. Should we be low carb? Oh, heck no. I'm not going to be under 50 carbs a day. Oh, no. I try for 120. That is my max. Not to have, if I have a really high carb breakfast, like my overnight oats is very high in carbs. It's probably between 45 and 50 carbs per rat. I try not to have any carbs at lunch. I try to make it more veg forward, more protein forward. And then maybe at dinner, I could have a carb. I just try to balance it because if I have 50 to 60 carbs per meal, then I'm way over my goal. And I'm not at the age where I could burn that off. Like if I was younger and very active, then carbs would be great, but I'm not. So I have to eat the way that I live, which is huge. Protein, yes, I try to have more protein. Do I have an extremely high protein goal? I do not. Why? Because I can't sustain that. I cannot keep buying. In order to have a lofty protein goal, you'll have to be buying supplements. I don't want to be buying bars and drinks and powders forever. So I try to get a lot of my protein through food, through ground turkey, chicken, tuna, grains like quinoa and hummuses, and string cheese and meat sticks, food that I could eat. Do I have bars and supplements? Sure I do. Do I have them every day? I do not. Because I don't want to be buying them that often because they're not cheap. So again, lose it like you're going to live it. How am I going to be able to live the rest of my life? And that's what I always keep in my head. So my protein goal is around between 80 and 100. Something I can make. If I go over, it's great. If I go under, it happens. I don't sit there do I actually literally track those numbers? I do not. But I do know what it looks like because I've done it. I have tracked it. So I do know when I'm having my overnight oats that, that's a high carb meal. So I know not to have pasta on that day. But so it's all about balance. It's all about finding your yin, your yang. Also watch my sugar. And I've been told that apparently sugar isn't addictive by some people. We all are addicted to different things. And when you can't stop at something, that's an addiction. So yes, I have a sugar addiction. I find for me, now again, this might not affect you, but for me, when I have too much of the cane sugar, it makes me crave sweets more. When I use stevia, monk fruit, Trevia, those sugar substitutes, I don't get those sugar rushes, and that's what works for me. Now you might be like, oh my gosh, I use sugar and I'm fine. That's great. We all have our, like I said, our bodies are different and our addictions are different. And I know for me, that was huge. It was huge. Another thing that I do different is I only get weighed in at my workshop. I do attend workshops, and I know not everybody can, but I only get weighed on that scale once a week. If I happen to miss a meeting, I'm not going to get weighed at home. My scale is different than their scale. Their scale weighs me heavier, and I knew that going in there that I was going to be, number one, I was stressed. Yes, I've been getting weighed naked at home. Hey, we all have. So I knew I was going to be up just for clothes and a different scale. So I knew that going in there, and I was okay with it because I knew it's a difference. But I don't want to be back and forth with, whoa, I'm up here, I'm down. I don't want to go in there saying, I know a certain number when I'm here, but then it's a different number there. No, I'm just getting weighed at my workshop. Now, if I didn't attend workshops, I would only get weighed on my own scale once a week. I wouldn't do different days. I don't need to see the fluctuations because weight fluctuates. Weight is a variable. It could be up 1 minute, down another minute. So it's just hard. You don't want that to mess with your head. So I have not gotten weighed in my scale since I started workshops back last month. In fact, my scale's a little dusty, but you know what? I've made that decision that I'm only going to get weighed there. And if I happen to miss a meeting, like Friday's going to be iffy with the weather, but I'm going to try to get there because I don't have a car. So I'm going to take Peter's car, which I don't like driving his car in the rain because it's very low, but I'm going to try to go anyway. And if I say I don't go, I'm not going to get weighed here just to see because it's different and I don't need any kind of confusion. The other thing, she talked about this a couple weeks ago at the meeting. This leader I have, Kathleen, is phenomenal. One of the best leaders I've ever had, if not the best leader I would say she's probably the best. Yeah, Kathleen, you're the best. I mean, she's very thought-provoking. She hits things and she's really good. But she mentioned like what we refer to food as good and bad. And I always say no food is inherently bad. It's just the amount of food we eat. Yes, we have something that is indulgent. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of that as well. Like if I happen to have a higher point meal on a weigh-in day, trying not to have the weigh-in day binge. I've had it a couple times. I think I got weighed in there 4 times. I think I've had it twice. Not a huge binge, but more than I really wanted to. And again, it's my mindset of saying, okay, you have 7 days before you have to go back. I'm trying to break that cycle. It's hard because it's habit. You come home. I mean, I've been good with breakfast. It seems to be like I don't know about you, but my bad times lately, my picky times have been between 3 and 5 o'clock. I don't know what it is. I have a snack right after Glam Squad. I don't know what it is. I may be able to throw a matcha in there now or something, or, drink a big glass of water, but I got the munchies before dinner. Not after dinner. I'm great after dinner. It's that 3 and 5 o'clock. Have been driving me insane. I'm good in the day. It's between 3 and 5 o'clock. It drives me nuts. But I'm trying to call it indulgence, not cheats, not binges. And I already called it binges, but we're trying to be indulgent. Like it's trying to make the word not so negative because we're human and we do that and we grab and we pick. It's just food. I sit there and I'm like, you're punishing yourself because you ate a little bit more food. It's food. It's not, like you're sitting there, I don't know, murdering somebody. I don't know. That was the first thing that came to my head. Like doing something so bad. Like it's just food. And we punish ourselves for eating something that we want. Another thing is trying to okay, so what am I grabbing? That's what I always try to say. What am I grabbing? What could I do to make that fit into my lifestyle? Lately, it's been nuts and trail mix. I said this on a rambling the other day. I am obsessed with trail mix and raisins. My mother would be rolling over in her grave. She'd be like, "You're eating." I hate it. I used to pick them out of everything. I used to call them ants. I don't want any ants. And all of a sudden, now I'm obsessed. Maybe it's that sweet thing. See? I'm fine. I'm not having sugar, so what can I replace it with? Raisins. We go back to sugar. What am I going to do? So I'm trying to, maybe if there's a way I can make myself a, better trail mix. So if you guys know of any, let me know. Maybe, that has been my my indulgence lately has been trail mix. I've been trying to get with, they also sell, I was going to grab a bag of those low sugar craisins, because sometimes when they make the fruit dried, they add sugar to it. Like, why? It's already sweet enough, but, or no sugar added stuff. So I might like see if I could find maybe some, low sugar added, and try to make my own trail mix, And I've been to sprouted nuts. Oh my gosh, sprouted everything. Nuts, oats, anything sprouted. I have a sprouted trail mix that I'm obsessed with. It's crunchy. Okay, I digress. But those are things that I'm doing differently this go around. I hope that some of this, encouraged you. Like I said, I talk frank here. I just say things that people want to say but are afraid to say, and I always say it with love, and I'm not saying it with like, you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying with my experience, this is what I found, and I just try to help you so maybe you don't make some of the mistakes that I've made, or, and then again, sometimes making mistakes is how we learn. But let's get into that app tutorial, shall we? Just a basic, how to track. Alrighty, we're going to show you how easy it is to track on the Weight Watchers app. Me. All right, open your app. All right, here, I always say all right. Here is our day. I've already used 1 point because I had some bone broth this morning. I was up early and I just wanted something. And I thought, I got this bone broth to have, if I'm ever hungry and I don't know what to eat, I'm going to have bone broth. Yes, it was early this morning. I had bone broth. But yes, I already tracked it. So you see under today, August 7th, we have food, weight, activity, blood sugar. We have our points, 27, and that little purple thing is when it fills up. That purple thing will fill up. We have points used on the right and weeklies on the left. Oh, I have accumulated several weeklies. All right, we've been doing a lot of working out here. So I have an 18-day streak for tracking. Woohoo! So under that, you see search or track food. We see the barcode scanner. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and water. I've already had one water. I should put that in there. Now, you absolutely could adjust your water. Mine is at 8 ounces. If you get a little wheel right next to the word 1 cup, that's what I have. You could adjust to any size. If you do water bottles or 16 ounces, you could adjust it to that. Definitely tailored to you. But we're here to talk about tracking. So you could either or. See where it has breakfast and lunch, that has little plus signs in purple. You could hit that and track. Or you could hit the search and track food above the word breakfast. Or if you have something to scan, you could scan your barcode scanner. Now, most of the time, at least for me, I'm a creature of habit. And I eat the same foods repeatedly. It's just something, you'll find when you find something you like, you eat it often. So what's great about the Weight Watchers app now is it remembers everything that you've eaten in the last few weeks, and it has it there for you to choose. So we're going to hit the little, where it says 1 point, so I use 1 point, so we're going to hit that little plus sign. It brings us to breakfast. Now, this was my breakfast yesterday. I had Laughing Cow, and I had a carb not gluten, and I had a Belinsky sausage. But also, that was my whole breakfast. Now, I could repeat that because I have everything. And I was thinking about actually repeating that, to be honest, because I really enjoyed that breakfast. But we have everything that we've tracked for breakfast in the last, like I said, there's my smart muffin, there's my cottage cheese, my sourdough bread, my feta cheese, my Clean Simple Eats pancake mix. So if you're going to eat a repeat offender, as I like to call it, you just hit the plus sign and it'll track it for you. But if you, say you make a breakfast sandwich and it's not here, you use the Light Thomas's English muffin, you have an egg, you have a slice of Canadian bacon. So you know that muffin is 2 points, your egg is 0, and your one slice of Canadian bacon is 0. So you know that sandwich is only 2 points. You can just hit that little upper right, see the little plus sign next to where breakfast on the left? You hit that, and you could hit quick add, and you could just put in, I always would call it a Sammy. You don't need to, you could call it anything. You could call it English muffin, EM Sammy, and then the points are 2 because everything else was 0. So we hit track and it tracks it for you. I love if you're, again, like me, you know the points of what you're eating. quickad is your friend, and I use that all the time. Also, if you hit that plus sign up top, you could create a recipe, you can create food, you can create a meal that you can go back to. Now, we will go over those in another video because this is all about tracking. But say you have a food that you scan that is not in the app. If you hit create food, you can scan the nutritional facts. The little blue thing right there will scan it, and it'll give you the points. You just have to name it, and it'll track it. So definitely, and that's a great place to check. I do that a lot. I check because sometimes this barcode scanner gets it wrong. And if you're really like a person that needs to be diligent with their points, it might not hurt to do that occasionally. So that is how we track. Now, same thing with lunch. If you go to lunch and hit that plus sign, it brings all your repeat offenders for lunch. What you've had. It knows what you had for breakfast. It knows what you had for lunch, which is so easy. There's my Happy Farm sliced Colby Jack cheese, my Mission spinach tortilla. You hit those pluses and adds it all in. Sometimes I put my Hearts of Palm in there. I'm not sure why I track that, but I always double check. But yep. So it definitely will help you. Once you're diligent tracking, everything will be on your app. You'll be able to track faster. So there'll be no excuses that you didn't track because everything is there. So that is how we track basic stuff. Now, also there is a place to track snacks, which is huge because back in the day we didn't have to. It was like snacks were never really talked about much. I'm not sure why, but now it actually literally calls it snacks. It's definitely a place where if you're in between a meal, you could put, it doesn't really matter. You could put it with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It really doesn't matter because it takes off your points. But if you just want to know what you have for snacks and when you have snacks, there's all your snacks. There's my almond milk for my matcha, and my spinach artichoke from Aldi, which I absolutely love. But like I said, once you start tracking religiously, it'll all be in there. You'll have way more than that. Obviously, I don't track my snacks in my snack section often, as you can see. But that is the basic of tracking. I will say, if you're somebody like me who knows the points of the food she eats, I hit that bar, I hit that plus sign, and I just do quickad. I do quickad a lot. If I'm at a restaurant and I look in the restaurant section and I can't find anything, or the restaurant's not in my app because it's a local place, I just use quickad and I deconstruct the recipe. Like I see what's in it and I give myself points. Like you're not having a cup of olive oil in your thing. You're lucky if you have a tablespoon. So yeah, that's 4 points. And they're not using light olive oil. So you track your fats, you track your wine, your butter, you track your meats, your proteins, your grains, and you give it points and you track it. Deconstruct, and you do the best you can. Are you going to be perfect? No. But you have to give it something. So that is just the quick little how to track. I love how you can just swipe up, swipe down, track different things. And it shows your progress, your tracking, your food, your weight, your activity. You have all these little things, these trends. These are all great little stats to check on. It shows you my total steps for this week. I have 32,000 steps. My last week I had 42,000. So I have two more. Well, I have Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know if Fridays. I think Friday. My app resets on Friday. So I have 2 days to get 10,000 steps. Maybe she can do it. I don't know. We'll see. But you're taking fewer steps than you were at this time last week. So that's interesting. That's good data to have because this way it's telling you what you need to work on. I obviously need to work on my steps. And I know that because it's been raining here in this lovely Garden State this week. So I have not been walking as I should. So definitely take a look at the progress. It gives you some insights to your week. It's helpful. Back to my day. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about, please let me know in the comments section below. I could try to help you. So we're just breaking this down to simple steps because anything too much more gets to be too confusing and you won't remember it. But that is just the gist of tracking your food. And like I said, if you don't have something in the app, you go in there, you hit that plus bar, and you create that food. And it'll scan it. I like I said, you could put it in manually if you choose to. You could definitely put it in, but I like to hit the scan because it's easy. But if the label's wonky, it won't always scan. You might have to put it in manually, but it takes you all about 35 seconds, and you can get that. But that's definitely great to have. They had taken it off for a while. I was very sad when they had to scan nutrition facts. I use that religiously, so it's one of my favorite things. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them down below, and I will do my best to help you out. All right, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little video, what am I doing differently on Weight Watchers. Workshop Wednesday topic, and a little app tutorial. Maybe we'll do this every Wednesday. It's either going to be Wednesday Wisdom or Workshop Wednesday. So we'll see what the mood strikes me. It's always how I feel inspired. And that's where I get any of the content that I do here. It's what inspires me to talk about. And those things, sometimes they seem harsh, I know. And when I say them, I'm like, that was harsh. But it's like it's what comes into my head. And I feel like if it comes into my head, it needs to come out my mouth. I can't stop it if I tried. So I hope this video helps. And if you enjoyed it, let me know with a big old thumbs up. Comment below. Like I said, you don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't want people to agree. I want people to think, though. And that's what these videos are to get you to think. That's all they're for. So that is it for me. If you are new here, welcome. If you not hit that subscribe button of this video, hit that subscribe. Join us here at Dish with D for realistic, sometimes too realistic, weight loss content. So I will dish with you another day. Bye-bye, my lovelies.